Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name's Chris and it's fantastic to have you back with us for another video. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at 5 projects that I think are going to do really well this week. And before we dig into those, we will review the selection from last week to see how we got on. Obviously wasn't the best week last week, a lot of sideways action, but we'll dig into those for full transparency. So if you like this sort of content, mash that like button, subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications so you never miss a thing. And we will be digging into advice.io for these projects to see what the artificial intelligence and machine learning is saying. So let's get into it. Let's get down to the desktop. So the first project that I called out last week was OMI. So it's actually down 11%. At the time of recording last week, it was at 0.00823. And obviously now it's at 0.007273. So down 11% for the week. It's not the best. We did call it out at the peak, which was a bit risky. But you know, for me, this is a solid project, and I was expecting it to continue going on a tear, but that wasn't to be, unfortunately. So yeah, 0 out of 1 so far. Okay, so here we are. So we've got SDAO. So this was at 251 at the time of recording last week. Down 7% for the week. Again, not the best performing asset for last week. It's really unfortunate. Solid project. Long term, expect this one to do really, really well. But let's move on. So 0 out of 2. Then we've got Phantom. So it's up 14.42% today. 227 at the time of recording last week. It was at 223. So this is a project where we're up. It's up about 1.5%, so not the biggest gain, but it's up nonetheless. Right, so 2-1, not good so far, but let's move on. Okay, Electroneum ETN. So we were expecting some big news for this project, and we received that. At the time of recording last week, it was at 0.01914. So it's now up just over 5% at the time of recording this week. Again, not the biggest gainer, but lots of sideways movement. Lots of the alts haven't really done very much this week. It has really just been Bitcoin. But, you know, again, another solid project that we expect to do really, really well. Moving on. So we're 2-2 now. And we've got Avalanche. So Avalanche, basically, I had in for 2 weeks on the bounce. So it didn't really move too much the first week. It hasn't really moved too much the second week, so last week, but it is down, right? So when we did the video last week, it was at $60.22, and obviously we're now at 58, just over $58. So we're down about 3.5%. So you know, it's a loss, but it's not a big loss unless you obviously put in like silly amounts of money. But again, a solid project that we do expect to go on a tear. It might just be a little bit of the timing was off, and timing is the hardest thing with these projects. But you know, we've got some really interesting projects, some projects that we don't tend to talk about. So let's dig into the projects that we think we're gonna do really well this week. So we got 2 out of 3 for last week, not the best week. So let's see if we can go on a bit of a tear. I mean, we got 5 out of 5 a couple of weeks ago. So let's get into what we've got this week, right? So the first one that I'm going to call out is DOW Stack, right? Now, I think this one's going to do really well. The ticker is GEN, and at the time of recording this week, it's at 0.06562. Down 3.58%. Now, here's their website, so you can dig into this one. Building collaborative networks. So a DOW Stack is an open source project advancing the technology and adoption of decentralized governance. So dig into this one. I'm not sort of going to go into it in too much detail. The artificial intelligence is rating it an A2. Obviously, this week it's down 5.62%. We expect this to do a reversal. The 𝗕𝗢𝗠𝗪 ratio is A2, the fear and greed index is A1, profitability is A1, and then you've got the Sharpe ratio A2, and the peak end value demand is A2. So this project is looking pretty solid for this week. So we're expecting big things for this project. Dig in and let us know what you think of this project in the comments below. Moving on, so we've got NPX, so down 0.44% this week, well today, sorry, at 0.1677. Again, expect this one to do really well this week. So this is an algorithmic crypto finance project. Do dig into it, it's really interesting, great team. For me, this is one that we do expect to do really well this week. And if we have a look at the artificial intelligence, again, rating A2, down 22% for the last 7 days. Now, for me, this one, the fear and greed index A1, Sharpe ratio A2, the peak end value demand A2, and then the profitability A1. So this one's looking pretty good for the week. So do dig into this project and let us know what you think, because this is two that we've never covered before. And the artificial and machine learning is calling these ones out to do really well this week. Okay, moving on, we've got Harmony One, so down 0.98% at 22.55. Again, I think this is a good price. I do expect this one to go on a tear. They're doing some amazing stuff. If we have a look at the artificial intelligence, has Harmony at A2. The fear and greed index is at A2. The Sharpe ratio A2. Moving average A2. You got the firm profitability A1. So solid on profitability. And the 𝗕𝗢𝗪𝗪 ratio is at A2. So, you know, for me, again, another project that we expect is going to do really well this week. So I'm going with like projects that, I think there's a lot of potential upward movement for these. So do dig in and let me know what you think in the comments. Moving on, we've got Matic. Now, I do think Matic is going to do really well this week. Down 1.48% at the time of recording at $1.51. Now, I do think that, this one's going to do really well, particularly because of the amount of gaming, projects that are going to be building using Matic, Polygon. So, do dig into this one. I expect it to do really well. Again, solid team, solid tech, all that wonderful stuff. And, if this one doesn't go on a tear this week, it's just going to be the timing's just off. A solid project, so do dig into it. The artificial intelligence has it as a B1, which is the lowest out of all of these. It's up 11.22% for the last week. So what's pulling it down? The 𝗕𝗢𝗪𝗪 ratio is a D, so that is definitely pulling it down. You got fear and greed index, so it's quite fearful at B1. You got the Sharpe ratio at A2, so that's fine. Profitability is A1, you don't get any better than that, and the moving average is A2. So yeah, expect this one to do really well. Moving on, we've got SingularityNET down 3.91% at 0.3224 at the time of recording. So this is artificial intelligence marketplace. Lots going on. We're expecting airdrops for other projects that are going to be sort of part of the ecosystem of Singularity. So for me, this is an interesting project, a solid project, a great project with a great team, great tech, all that wonderful stuff. Now, I think that this is a pretty solid selection for this week. We're always putting our sort of our necks on the line when we call these projects out, and a week isn't an awful long time. We do monthly call outs, but the weekly ones are more just a bit of fun. But I do really like calling out some of these projects. It gives us an opportunity to look at some other projects. We've called out 𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗀, which has done really well. We've seen like almost 100% gains on that one that we called out, what we wouldn't normally sort of talk about. And it gives people sort of more exposure to newer projects, right? So do let me know what your thoughts are on the projects that I've called out for this week. A couple of new ones that we haven't really talked about before. Really interested to get your views and opinions on those. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the content, mash that like button, subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications. Really does support the channel, and it's much appreciated. With all that said, take care, and I will catch you in the next one.